Hello everyone, welcome to today's discussion of Daily News Decoded. In this discussion, we try to relate the topics of newspaper with respect to the topics of your preparation of UPSC CSE examination. For example, there can be an article based on globalization or impact of globalization on Indian society, but sometimes we are not able to identify that which dimension or how we are going to relate it. So, for example, with respect to the impact of globalization on Indian society is a very vast topic. उसमें ग्लोबलाइजेशन के इम्पैक्ट कल्चरल वैल्यूज़ को लेकर के भी हो सकते हैं, ग्लोबलाइजेशन के इम्पैक्ट सोसाइटल एस्पेक्ट्स को लेकर के भी हो सकते हैं, ग्लोबलाइजेशन के इम्पैक्ट वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट को लेकर के भी हो सकते हैं. So, maybe on one day one particular dimension of that particular topic is coming and the next day the different dimension is coming. So, that is how you can easily relate those particular dimension with one particular theme of the syllabus. So, we have already discussed these aspects, that how this initiative is going to help and strategize your preparation, especially dealing with the newspaper. So, let us move forward with the first article of today of Daily News Discussion, that is going to be based on the lead article of the Hindu, and it is going to talk about the feasibility of interlinking of rivers, and it is going to take the ecological aspects taking into consideration. So, as we see with respect to this article, it has two aspects, river interlinking, and it is going to talk with respect to the environmental aspect, that is it going to be a disaster for environment or how interlinking of river is going to impact the environment. So, it is a very broad topic when we talk about river interlinking. It can have benefits also, it can have challenges also, it can have another analysis also, or it can also talk about one particular pilot project, that is Ken-Betwa. But today's article is going to talk about the environmental disaster which is going to be related to the interlinking of rivers. So, as we see this particular article, this is relevant to the GS paper 1 of geography, and we can also relate to the GS paper of disaster management. So, before moving forward with respect to this article, let us see some of the PYQ questions, and it has been recently in news because on December 25, 2024, PM laid down the foundation stone for Ken-Betwa interlinking project, that is one of the major pilot project with respect to the river interlinking program, right. So, on 25th December, PM Modi laid down the foundation for Ken-Betwa interlinking project. We will also talk a bit with respect to this Ken-Betwa. We will discuss this particular article in comprehensive way. So, when we see the previous year question, the first question is going to be of 2016, which is going to talk about not many years ago, river interlinking was a concept, but it becoming a reality in the country. Discuss the advantages of river interlinking and possible impacts on environment. So, as you see, this question is asking about the benefits, and this question is asking about the positive impact, right, on environment. So, when we see this particular article, this is going to talk about the negative impact, and the positive impact have already been asked with respect to this particular theme. Second question which was asked, the interlinking of rivers can provide viable solutions to the multidimensional interrelated problem of drought, that is the first problem, second is flood, and third is interrupted navigation. So, how this is going to provide a viable solution for drought, flood and interrupted navigation, critically examine. So, as we have already spoken about, one particular theme can have multiple dimensions or multiple sub dimensions which can be asked. So, river interlinking as a whole we are going to discuss in today's article, right. So, when we talk about river interlinking, so definitely there should be some shortage, that is we are going to talk about the integration of the rivers. So, if we see the river map of India, we easily see that with respect to the water resources, India is a very rich country. We all know in the northern part we have the Ganga belt, or we have the Ganga river system. In the northwestern we have the Indus river system. In moving towards the eastward we have Brahmaputra river system. Moving down or in the central India we have Narmada and Tapi, and once we move down south we have Godavari, we have Krishna, we have Kaveri. So, India is full of water resources, but still when we see with respect to the water crisis in India, it depicts a different picture. So, if we see the river map of India, as I told you, it comprises of Indus river system, it also comprises of Ganga river system, it comprises of Brahmaputra river system. In the south also we have Godavari, we have Mahanadi, we have Kaveri, we have Krishna. So, entire India is enriched with rivers, but still it is facing a water crisis. The first is, even after India is enriched with so much of water resource, still we see 44% of India faces water stress. And second aspect, when it comes to the management of water resources, we see a lot of states are not performing well with respect to the water management. Here we see, if we see the data with respect to the water management, a lot of states are going to be termed as laggards, that their score is less than 50. So, even if we take the example of the Uttar Pradesh or Bihar or Odisha or Rajasthan, we see these states are definitely not performing well with respect to the water management, and there are two states, Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat, are doing something better in case of water management. So, firstly we are facing a crisis, even we have very good water resources. So, as we see, we have definitely good amount of water resources in our country with respect to very beautiful distribution of rivers in the entire India, but we see that we are still struggling with the water crisis. And secondly, when it comes with the management part of the water crisis, we see that we have a lot of gaps. Right. Another interesting scenario with respect to water crisis, we see that there are going to be the changing pattern. Firstly, some of the states which were facing droughts are now facing the flood. Secondly, some of the states which were facing floods are facing the drought. So, if you see this pictographical representation, a lot of states which were initially facing droughts are going to face the flood. For example, this area, this particular area, and some of the regions which were facing flood are going to face the drought. So, this is another impact, and this shows that how our water management is inefficient, or the handling of the rivers, or what should be our responsibilities towards the water management of this entire river system should have been, has not been there. So, if we see into some of the reasons, the first is going to be the population and urbanization. This is a very common reason, as starting from 1950s to 2024, the population has increased. And secondly, with respect to the migration and the new urbanization which is happening day by day, is going to be one of the important challenge, because it is not only going to increase the population, but it is also going to deplete the water resources, and secondly, the way we use the water resources is going to be there. For example, we as Indian citizens do not take any major moral responsibilities, right. So, that is another challenge or another concern for India when we talk about the water crisis. Secondly, with respect to the poor water management. So, whenever the water management comes, it not only requires the responsibility of the government, it also requires the responsibility of the citizens, that they should handle the water properly, and the government should also take measures, so that whatever waste of water is going to be in the rivers, or whatever waste we are releasing, firstly it should be going through the cleaning process or the recycling process. So, first is going to be the population urbanization, second is going to be the poor water management. When we talk about the environment and pollution, and when we club this point with the moral responsibility, we better know, in our country, where with respect to our cultural values or societal values or religious values, where water is a symbol of faith in all the religion, we have given the status of mother to our rivers. We always say Ganga Ma, and even in all the religion, water is considered as very pure, right. The faith is associated with that. Even after that, when it comes to the handling of water or our behavior toward water, we do not take water with respect to that spirit. So, that is another challenge with respect to the water crisis. If we take the scenario of the groundwater usage, as we are an agricultural country and where a large amount of population is dependent on agriculture, if here we see the scenario of how much we use the groundwater, it is 251 billion cubic meter in India as comparison in 112, and this is the usage which is recorded back in 2015. So, even after 10 years, you can easily imagine that how much amount of groundwater we are using and how easily we are depleting our groundwater resource. So, population urbanization, poor water management, environmental and pollution, and our civic responsibility towards the water as well as the groundwater depletion plays a very important role in terms of creating the water crisis in India. Secondly, there is no comprehensive policy and holistic approach. When we say about the comprehensive policy and holistic approach, we mean all the stakeholders should come together to make this policy holistic for water management. For example, the government and all the functionaries under government. For example, it requires all the departments under government. So, what we mean with the policy that is going to be holistic approach, we mean that all the stakeholders, be it government, be the civil society, be the engineers, be the different departments, be the citizens, all should come together towards managing this water crisis. So, that policy should be very comprehensive, it should take the inputs from all the stakeholders, and there can be some laws which can be made to save this country with respect to the water crisis, right. So, if we summarize the reasons: population, secondly poor water management, third is environment, fourth is groundwater, fifth is law and moral responsibility, and third is comprehensive policy and holistic approach, right. So, this sets the background that why do we require the interlinkages of river. So, if we go into the backdrop of interlinkage of river, the concept of interbasin transfer was actually proposed by Sir Arthur Cotton. So, actually he was an army personnel and an irrigation engineer also, who proposed this particular concept that the water which is going to be surplus from one basin can easily be transferred to the another basin, and we can link so that the surplus water can be added to the another basin, right. So, that was actually proposed by Sir Arthur Cotton, and he also designed the irrigation dams into the Godavari and Krishna river valleys, right. So, this particular historical prospect is also mentioned into the article, and I have taken this information from article only. When we talk about the post independence initiative, so in 1980s, National Prospective Plan for Interlinkages of Rivers was proposed, and this interlinkages of rivers, that how feasibility is going to be there, is it going to be a viable solution, that is going to be surveyed. So, which authority was given? National Water Development Agency, which now works under Ministry of Jal Shakti, was the nodal agency which was assigned with respect to for this particular plan. Recently, a new agency has been formed, National Interlinkage of River Authority, that is NERA. This is going to be the main implementing agency, and this is going to make this process fast paced for enhancing the surveying, for enhancing the viability and finding the new solution and new particular process, right. So, these two agencies are going to be the major agencies which have been given the responsibility for interlinkages of river. When we talk about the key components, as I said, if we divide the India, right, the northern particular is going to be served by the Himalayan rivers, and southern is going to be served by the peninsular river system. So, 14 rivers have been identified into the Himalayan river development, and 16 rivers have been identified into the peninsular rivers development. So, if we see the Himalayan component and the peninsular component, we see Ken-Betwa is going to be the part of peninsular component, and it is the first major pilot project under interlinkages of river, right. So, there are also other rivers which are proposed under the Himalayan and the peninsular, for example, Kosi and Ghagra, Gandhak and Ganga, Ghagra and Yamuna. If also see in terms of the peninsula, we see Mahanadi and Godavari. So, that is how we are going to interlink that transfer of the river from where we see that the water is going to be surplus, and we are going to link this river to another river where the water is not going to be that much surplus, or there is going to be a scarcity of water, right. So, that is going to give you the entire scenario of both the two components, and you can easily see this particular map where all the major rivers or how these components are going to be marked. So, if you see that the Ken-Betwa is going to be on the 24th, here you can see the Ken-Betwa we are going to interlink, where Ken is going to be at one river and second is going to be Betwa, and this is going to be the interlinking, that how these two rivers are going to be interlinked, right. So, now moving further, we see that when we talk about the Ken-Betwa interlinking project, recently it has been news because the Prime Minister had laid down the foundation, but the project started, or the concept of project or the notion of this particular project started long back, right. So, Ken-Betwa interlinking project, what it is going to do, it will transfer the surplus water from the Ken river to the Betwa basin. So, as we said that Ken is going to be the tributary of the Yamuna, and it is going to have surplus water, and we are going to transfer this water to this Betwa link. And how we are going to link? We are going to link it by a link canal. We are transferring the water from one particular river to another particular river, or using with the link canal, and it is going to pass which of the district? It is going to pass through Jhansi, Banda and Mahoba districts of UP, and Tikamgarh and Panna and Chhatarpur district of MP. So, Jhansi, Banda and Mahoba district of UP and Tikamgarh, Panna and Chhatarpur district, this particular link canal is going to pass, right. A very important fact related to this Ken-Betwa interlinking project, that it is also going to impact the Panna Tiger Reserve, right. So, it is going to be the first major project where the environmental concern have been shown that once this is going to be operational and functional, it is going to pass through the Panna Tiger Reserve. So, the biodiversity as well the ecosystem of that particular tiger reserve is going to be disturbed, and today's article is also going to be talking about the environmental impact of these particular interlinkages of rivers, right. So, we will also discuss that in a moment, right. So, the project will also benefit the UP and MP in terms of meeting the irrigation and drinking needs. As we know, if we are going to transfer the particular water from another river, or if we are going to transfer the water from one river to another river, so we see the Betwa river will have ample amount of water. So, people living into this particular region are going to be benefited, as the agriculture productivity of this particular region can be grown, right. So, when we talk about the importance of river, it is not only with respect to the agriculture, the amount of people which are involved into the agriculture activities, whose livelihood is very much attached to the agriculture activities, is going to be impacted by this particular project, right. So, if we summarize this Ken-Betwa interlinking project in a nutshell, it is the first project along with the interlinking linkages of river. As I told you, it is going to cost you around 45,000 crore rupees, and the benefits are going to be in three aspects. Firstly, with respect to the hydropower, secondly with respect to the irrigation, and thirdly with respect to the drinking water. So, as I said, the impact or the benefits are not only associated with the agriculture productivity, but it is also going to benefit the people with respect to the drinking water and all the people whose livelihood can be enhanced by the improvement of the agriculture productivity. So, it is going to enhance the irrigation by 10.62 lakh hectares. Secondly, it is going to add the drinking water facilities for 62 lakh, and definitely a very important achievement into the hydropower generation in terms of power, and also a very important development with respect to the hydropower generation, right. Concerns, as we have already spoken about, are going to be threat to the Panna tiger reserves, because we are going to disturb the ecosystem. So, we are going to do a deforestation, and that requires not only the deforestation, but the displacement also. So, it is going to impact the environment of this particular area. So, moving next, if we want to do the comprehensive analysis of interlinking projects, we can talk about the benefits also, and we can talk about the concerns also. So, talking about the benefits, if we are going to implement the interlinkages of rivers, firstly it is going to definitely boost our irrigation facilities. So, 30 or 35 million hectares is going to be impacted, and the irrigation facilities can easily be improved. Secondly, it is going to raise the agriculture productivity, because new regions or those particular regions are going to get the agriculture facilities, and secondly it is also going to enhance the livelihood of the people who are going to be dependent on this particular agriculture activities. Secondly, it is going to be a very much boost for the hydroelectric generation, right. So, these particular linkages are going to be a game changer with respect to the hydroelectric generation or hydroelectric generation capacity of India. Third, definitely it is going to provide the water security. Fourth, very important topic, that it is going to provide a balance of droughts and floods. Recently, we have seen that even into the metropolitan cities, there is going to be water crisis. Chennai was the recent example. So, when we talk about the balance of floods and droughts, we have already seen that there are going to be areas which were impacted by the droughts pehle, or now they are going to be impacted by the floods. Similarly, there is going to be a change of scenario where some areas were impacted by the floods and now they are going to the droughts. So, there is no balance. Every year there are so many areas which face a lot of flood, especially into some areas of the eastern India, right, and for example in Bihar also, and there are going to be other areas which are going to face the drought. So, for example, if we are going to balance this drought versus flood debate, and we are going to balance our water resources by the interlinkages of river, this is not only going to be a very important part where we can save a disaster. So, if we can balance the floods and droughts across the India, we can easily save a lot of resources also, be it the human resource, be it our agricultural resource, be it our economic resources. So, this is going to be another very important aspect which is going to be a game changer when we talk about the benefits of interlinkages of rivers. Third, it is going to provide the inland water base or inland water highways, so that our inland water capacities for the transport as well as our new inland highway project can achieve its full potential, right. So, these are going to be the major benefits with respect to irrigation, with respect to hydroelectricity, with respect to water security, with respect to balance of droughts, and with respect to the inland water base. Now, talking with respect to the concern, and on this particular theme, this particular article is based, that how it is going to impact the environment. Today's article is going to be based on negative impact, right. So, as we read this particular article, and I have taken the portion of this particular article, it majorly mentions 3 pointers. Firstly, it is going to talk about that it is going to disturb the ecological niche, right. So, as human intervention is going to be there, definitely that ecological niche is going to be disturbed, right. And question for you, what do you mean by ecological niche? So, it is going to disturb the flora and fauna over there. Your human activities or new developments are going to impact the forest area over there also. So, that is the first point which is going to be there. Second, we are going to disturb the natural flow of river, because we are going to disturb the natural flow, because we are going to take the water from the one river and going to transfer into the another river. So, we are disturbing the natural flow of river. So, when we see about the stages of river, the first stage is going to have a lot of energy and enthusiasm. Second stage, the energy is going to be reduced and the rivers are going to form their meanders, and into their final stage they are going to meet the seas, forming the delta. So, rivers carry a lot of sediments along with them, which is going to be deposited along floodplain, and they act as a very important component for the fertility of the soil, right. So, this particular article also mentions these points with respect to the negative impact of environment. As the rivers carry a lot of sediments and they carry a lot of mineral, they act a very important source for the soil fertility. This particular article also mentions this particular points, where it says it needs to be seen as the carrier of minerals and of land fertility, groundwater recharge, and sustenance of biodiversity, which finally helps the livelihood of millions of marginalized people, right. So, firstly it mentions about the disturbance of ecosystem and ecological niche. Secondly, it is going to that human intervention is going to impact the natural flow of river, and third, that in natural flow river is going to meet the delta formation, right, but we are going to impact these processes by our human intervention or by these development process, right. So, that is going to be one major aspect which has been there. Secondly, when we talk about the concerns, we have already seen that the Kaveri dispute between the Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. So, it is going to create new concerns and new challenges if the states are going to be involved into another water disputes. And next is going to be, it requires a lot of money, right. So, it is also going to economy, or the funds are going to be the major concerns or the challenges with respect to the implementation of inter-water linking projects, right. So, funds or economy is going to be the major challenge implementation of inter-water linking projects. So, moving next, if we want to take some learnings from the global example where human intervention has impacted with respect to the environment, especially with respect to the water resources. The first very major example is going to be Aral Sea. UPSC has also asked one question, I think back in 2018 or 19, if you check, that there is going to be a question with respect to Aral Sea, which dried due to the river diversion. Second is going to be the Kissimmee River in Florida, which has impacted its wetland, right. And the next very much important example can be a Indus Valley Basin also, that is mentioned into this particular article. So, these are the adverse impact, and if we want to take some good examples or good learnings from the globe, we can also take the learnings of the drip irrigation. As I said कि irrigation facilities और groundwater का depletion आपस में interlinked हैं. India is a country where it is going to be very much dependent upon the agriculture activities, and for the agriculture productivity we definitely require irrigation. As I said, irrigation facilities and agriculture productivity are interlinked. So, we require good irrigation facilities. It is going to impact our groundwater resources, and which is going to impact the groundwater table, right. So, if we take the global learning from Israel, where water management through drip irrigation played a very important role. So, if we see the geography of the Israel, it is not going to be very familiar with respect to the drinking water also, or with respect to the other resources also, right. But they have used the drip irrigation, which we can also implement, so that our groundwater resources can be saved and we can have better efficient management of the water, right. So, we are also going to cater our irrigation facilities and other agriculture needs, and we can also do something with respect to the change into the groundwater depletion, right? Second, with respect to the efficient resource and usage and conservation, with respect to our environment, with respect to our ecology, we require better civic sense in terms of our approach towards water, right? Next is going to be the current scenario, world largest river interlinking project facing environmental concerns into China. So, we can also see this particular case study that how China's this particular project is going to impact the environment, right. So, in a nutshell, if I want to conclude and summarize this river interlinking, we can also take some things with respect to the way forward. Firstly, with respect to the promotion of the drip irrigation as the learning from the Israel. Secondly, we should have a national water policy with all the stakeholders which are going to be involved in that, so that we can have better research team and we can also see how we are going to cater these particular environmental challenges. डेवलपमेंट और एनवायरनमेंट के बीच की डिबेट हमेशा से रही है, बट वी कैन ऑल्सो फाइंड सम सस्टेनेबल सोल्यूशन. सो दिस पर्टिकुलर वाटर पॉलिसी शुड work on finding the sustainable solution. So, next solution is encouraging sustainable agriculture practices which can be a part of this particular, and last, prioritizing eco-friendly alternatives like watershed management and modern irrigation, right. So, with respect to the collaborative and comprehensive approach, we can easily make this interlinking water project successful, which can be a game changer not only with respect to the agriculture or irrigation, but also in the field of hydro power electricity generation, and also to cater the needs of the human lives for their day-to-day needs of water. So, now it is time for a quiz question. You can easily comment. So, the question says, consider the following rivers Vamsadhara, Indravati, Pranhita and Pennar. Which of the above are the tributaries of Godavari? आप इसका आंसर कमेंट सेक्शन में दीजिएगा. Second question is, critically analyze the socio-political and ecological challenges associated with the river interlinking projects. Discuss the potential impact on local communities, biodiversities and overall development. As we have covered this topic particularly in a very comprehensive way, I hope you will be able to write this particular answer in 250 words, right. So, moving to our next topic. ISRO is again in news because of two major reasons. Firstly, it has delayed its SpaDeX docking. So, we are going to talk a bit on the SpaDeX mission. Secondly, new ISRO chief has been appointed. So, he is going to take the charge, V. Narayanan. He is going to take the charge as a ISRO chief. So, that is why ISRO as an organization is also in news. And with respect to the new mission which has been postponed to test the docking technology, that is the SpaDeX docking. So, it has been postponed again. It was scheduled for today, but it is going to take some more time because there is going to be a drift. So, talking in relationship with this particular article, this is very much relevant to the GS paper 3 of science and technology. But if we take ISRO as an example, this ISRO as an institution has played a very significant role in showing the India's capabilities around the globe, right. So, we will discuss some other aspects also of ISRO as an organization, right. So, going into the previous year questions which have been asked, we see that the kind of questions can vary. For example, there is a question which has been asked, despite achieving significant progress in science technology, India lags behind in ensuring equal opportunities for women in STEM. We have also discussed this particular topic 2 days back, where STEM, that why participation of women or especially into the field of STEM is not that much progressive, right. So, if you wish to go through that particular article, you can easily visit 2 days back DND. I have covered this particular topic in very much detail. Secondly, when ISRO as an institution, we see ISRO played a very important role in the gender inclusivity, right. So, we have seen into the Chandrayaan mission also or Mangalyaan mission also that the women have played a very significant role. So, that kind of notion that women are not that much capable with respect to analytical capabilities or in the field of science technology, they are not that much active or they can't do wonders like men. So, they have shown their capabilities. So, ISRO as an organization take that pride in making sure that they also get, or women also get, the equal platform to showcase their capabilities. Second is also related to a woman, that India has a growing pool of women scientists, but the gender gap in the STEM career persists and lies this reason for disparity. So, they have asked in 2 consecutive years with respect to the women participation in the field of science, technology, engineering, mathematics, right. So, moving further as the history of ISRO. So, whenever you are going through the history of any particular institution, it shows that legacy and in which circumstances that organization was established and how it has grown. So, taking an example of the ISRO, if we see the history of ISRO, Vikram Sarabhai was the major person, or it is going to be the brainchild of Vikram Sarabhai, who wanted that India should do wonders in the field of space and technology. But if we see the timeline, it was just after independence. So when we see in terms of economic resources or the motivational resources, we don't have that amount of capabilities. So ISRO was born in that particular era when India was struggling with so many things. At one end, we were going through the Indo-China war. Secondly, there was going to be the shortage of the food grains. But still, the spirit of Vikram Sarabhai showcased that we can also establish a particular organization which is going to grow that much after 60 years or 50 years, that it is going to set as an example of an institutional leaders, that what kind of institutional value should an institution has. So it was formed into the 1962 with the brainchild of Vikram Sarabhai, or he playing a very important role. And it was established as an Indian National Committee for Space Research under the leadership of Dr. Vikram Sarabhai. Then a different department of space was established under which ISRO is going to make function. So ISRO by the name is going to be born into 1969 with the headquarter at Bangalore, and a new department of space was also established, right? So ISRO's chairman also act as a secretary of Department of Space and chairman of Space Commission. So as I said, the new chairman is going to take the responsibility of this institution. So this institution, with respect to historical perspective or its organizational structure, has in news. So you should definitely know something about it. And apart from that, as I told you, कि ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ने बहुत शानदार तरीके से अपनी इंस्टीट्यूशनल वैल्यूज को इस्टेब्लिश किया है. So you should definitely know about its journey, right? So moving further, we see, as I told you about the Department of Space, it has been established into 1969 and ISRO is going to be made function under it. So what is going to be the primary objective? It is going to be promote development and application of space and science technology. And there is another space commission which is going to be a formulating and regulating of policies. So policy regulations, policy formulations, inputs are going to be given by the Space Commission, and Department of Space is going to function as the active body or the implementing body, and ISRO is going to be under Department of Space. So these are the two terms you should definitely know. Moving further, when we go in terms of how ISRO is going to function, as you know that once we are going to work in the field of space and universe, it is going to be a challenging part. So we do require a lot of speciality, and we do require a different domain specific institutions and centers. So ISRO has all across their regional centers working for different technology and in different verticals or domain. So for example, we see in Dehradun, Indian Institute of Remote Sensing is there. In Thiruvananthapuram, we have Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, Liquid Propulsion System Center, and we also have PSLV facility. In Mumbai, we have Central Remote Sensing Institution. In Jodhpur, we have Western. In Delhi, we have ISRO's branch office and Delhi Earth Station. In Kharagpur, we have Eastern Remote Sensing. In Balasore, we have Meteorological Rocket System. Right? You must be very much familiar with respect to Sriharikota. It is always in news. You should tell me in comment box why Sriharikota is so famous and which center of ISRO and which domain of ISRO is established in Sriharikota. So it can be asked in a match the following kind of question, where one side you are going to have different ISRO space research centers, and secondly what is going to be their location also, and what is going to be their domain or vertical or application or two. So this kind of match the following question you can expect, right? Moving further, when we talk about the major achievement, as I told you, when ISRO is going to be born, the economic condition and the challenges of India were so different, right? So it started their major journey from 1975 by first satellite in the name of the Aryabhat, and now we are inching towards our Gaganyaan program. So in this particular chart, I would like that you should definitely tell me what is the difference between objective of Chandrayaan 1 with respect to Chandrayaan 3, and what is going to be the objective of Aditya L1 solar mission launched in 2023. These are the major three missions which are going to be in the past, and recently with the India's vision for 2047, so many upcoming new missions are going to be in the pipeline of ISRO, where this test of SpaDeX, where the docking technology is going to be tested, is going to be just the start, so that those missions can easily be accomplished, right? Now moving further, This is one of the very major area where ISRO has established as an institution. So 1962 के वॉर के टाइम पीरियड पे अगर आप इंडिया की कंडीशन को इमेजिन करें, हमारे पास सिक्योरिटी को लेकर के चैलेंज है, एग्रीकल्चर को लेकर के चैलेंज है, प्रोडक्टिविटी को लेकर के चैलेंज है, लोगों के अदर चैलेंजेस हैं, उसके साथ साथ हमारे सोशियो इकोनॉमिक इंडिकेटर्स बहुत डाउन थे, और उसी के साथ साथ ऐसे एनवायरनमेंट में व्हेन यू आर गोइंग टू प्लान एन इंस्टीट्यूशन लाइक इसरो, that institution over a period of time showcase that no matter how many challenges you are going to face, if you have that willpower, you are going to achieve. ISRO never complained about that people are not going to work beyond their working hours, and ISRO played a very significant role in showing the light in the science, technology, engineering and mathematics that women can do wonder. So whenever we talk about 3 E's of an institution, where efficient, effective and economic institution is going to be the 3 E's of governance, ISRO has topped in that. So with respect to the fund, with respect to the technological innovations and usage of fund into the most efficient way, right? When we launched a particular mission, we said that this particular mission was launched in much lesser amount that if we are going to showcase a sci-fi movie, right? So rather than filming a sci-fi movie, whatever amount is going to be there, उससे कम पैसों में इसरो ने इस मिशन को लॉन्च कर दिया था, right? Next is going to be the gender inclusivity, where I told you that women played a very important role in establishing the image of ISRO, that they are going to be the equal flag bearers in the process of development and in the process of this science, technology, engineering and mathematics. Next is going to be learning from failures. So we all know that the journey of ISRO is not going to be that smooth. There are going to be some missions which were planned and so much of energy, so much of human resource, so much of funds and so much of time was involved, but still we failed somewhere, right? So we took the learnings and we came back so strongly, right? So it is going to be a very good life learning lesson which can be taken from ISRO. And when it comes to the innovation, when we were born into 1962, most of the developed world or most of the developed world nations at that time were laughing at us that we are going to launch a space mission in that particular socio-economic background. But once we take the charge, even those missions now request us to launch their satellites and so many other things. So ISRO has shown that how innovation can play a very important role and adaptation to the new challenges. Now ISRO even has its own private arm which played a very important role in boosting the economy as well as contributing in our foreign policy. So now in the field of space diplomacy, ISRO has made us proud. These are the major 4 learnings which can easily be taken from an institution like ISRO, and so many learnings can be replicated and can be adapted by other institutions, right? So moving further about the SpaDeX mission, as I told you, this mission is going to be the first step for our futuristic mission. So as I told you, this mission is going to be the first step and going to play a very significant role in the success of upcoming missions. So this is going to like a test. What kind of test? We are going to test or demonstration of a technology which is going to be known as docking mechanism, right? So what is docking mechanism? You must have seen a particular movie or a space movie. In that there is going to be a space station, and in that there is going to be attachment of the flight shuttle. So when that attachment is going to happen, it requires a very precise attachment because it is going to be in space, not like a normal, or we are not like a normal environment. So in that it has to be very precise, and this is going to be known as a docking mechanism. So how we are going to test this docking technology? You see, there is going to be a target and it is going to be a chaser. So these 2 satellites have been launched. So these 2 satellites have been launched where there is going to be a target and a chaser. Firstly, they are going to be 10 to 20 kilometers away, and slowly these 2 satellites are going to come closer. And as they are going to come closer, they are also going to reduce the speeds, and finally this docking or coupling is going to happen. For example, if you have seen the train, how the attachment of the different compartment is going to happen. So that coupling is going to happen between these 2, but it is going to be a very precise, but this has to be a very precise and a complex process because this is going to happen in space. So this is about the SpaDeX mission, and this SpaDeX mission or this particular docking mechanism which is going to happen has been postponed. I wish, and we all are waiting, that once this is going to be there, we are going to be one of the few countries who have achieved this particular technology. So what we have to remember, that these 2 spacecraft or the satellites have been launched from the PSLV. Secondly, the objective is to secondly, the objective is to demonstrate the docking mechanism, and the name of these two satellites is SDX-01 and SDX-02, the chaser and the target, right? So this was about the docking mechanism. It is going to come in news again, or maybe in more detailed way. Okay. Now, moving next, that as I mentioned about the India's vision for 2047, and this SpaDeX is the first step to test our technology with respect to the docking technology and docking mechanism. So what are the objectives of India's vision? Firstly, we are going to establish Bharatiya Antariksh Station by 2035. That is why this docking mechanism testing has been done. Secondly, Gaganyaan follow-on mission, next generation satellite launch vehicle, Chandrayaan 4 and Venus orbital mission by 2028. So these are in the pipeline. That is why this docking technology has been tested. Now my question is, do you know the difference between PSLV and GSLV? Second question. So now my question after this coverage is, do you know the difference between PSLV and GSLV? And secondly, you should know how the appointment of ISRO's chairman has been done. That which committee is going to appoint, or is he going to be appointed by a committee or by a convention, right? So these are the two questions for you, और इनके जवाब आप comment box में दीजिएगा. So moving to our next topic, recently Prime Minister had laid down the foundation for South Coast Railway Zone. So there was a demand for the new railway zone. So recently it has been carved out from the East Coast and South Central Railway Zone. So if you go through this particular article, you will find that the new zone has been carved out from part of the East Coast Railway and South Central Railway Zone. And the zone is going to cover a significant portion of Andhra Pradesh, including parts of Telangana and Tamil Nadu. Its key division is going to include the Vijayawada division and Guntur division, and also going to be part of East Coast Railway. So that is going to be the news. So it can be important with respect to the prelims point of view. You should definitely know how many zones of railways are going to be there. So this is something important with respect to the economy, because railway is going to be one of the major carrier with respect to the last mile connectivity, right? So going into some of the historical backdrop, as you know, the first of the railway line is going to be from Bombay to Thane, 1853, under Lord Dalhousie, right? Once you read a modern history, you are going to read a lot regarding Lord Dalhousie with respect to his contribution with respect to the infrastructure development, right? So with respect to some points, fourth largest railway network globally after US, Russia and China. First railway line Bombay to Thane we have already discussed. Next, with respect to railway zone, 18 zones and division. Each zone is divided into a smaller division for efficient management. So the major objective of this entire railway, because we are going to be a very vast country and now the most populous one, and railway is going to be the last mile connectivity carrier, और railway को दोनों जिम्मेदारियां हैं with respect to the people also and with respect to the goods also. So fourth largest railway network, and it is a very complex job, or it is a very complex ministry which is going to be moving on daily basis, right? We always say we are moving one Australia from one place to another on daily basis, right? So we have divided our zones into divisions so that we can easily administer and the functioning of the railway can be made smooth, right? So as you see the chart of Indian railway zones, it is going to include the new railway zone as the South Coast, right? So let's see some facts about the South Coast railway zone. Firstly, the headquarter is going to be the Visakhapatnam. As I told you, it is going to cater the needs of Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and some portions of Tamil Nadu also. And it is going to have its headquarter at Visakhapatnam. Secondly, it is going to be the major purpose that is streamline of the operations, enhance connectivity, and improves passenger services, right? So going into some recent developments and the recent achievements of the Indian Railways, we all are familiar with the Vande Bharat. We all are familiar now with the Vande Bharat sleeper that is going for the run. It is going to introduce into some times, or it is going to be made operational. We are also aware about the Amrit Bharat station mission with respect to the modernization of railways with features for its better accessibilities, right? So railways are going to be now modified and they are going to be refurbished and renovated so that they are going to be also having some modern facilities, and the movement of the passengers is going to be easy like in airports. So movement of passenger is going to be easy like airports, right? Next is going to be dedicated freight corridor, as freight corridors are going to be very much important. Now I would like to tell you, अगर आप काफ़ी टाइम पहले अगर इंडियन रेलवेज के बारे में जानते हैं या उसकी फंक्शनिंग के बारे में जानते हैं, सो बहुत टाइम पहले देयर इज नो गोइंग टू बी एनी डेडिकेटेड फ्राइट कॉरिडोर ऑन द सेम रेल्स. passenger trains and express trains are also running, and the freight trains are also running. And in fact, freight trains used to suffer a lot. Why? Because they are going to be stopped and they are going to be halted so that the express train or the premium trains can pass. So freight movement pays a lot of revenue with respect to railways, but they were not given the priority. So that is why these dedicated freight corridors have been planned. So you see Eastern dedicated freight corridor, Ludhiana to Dankuni, which you can easily see, and Western freight corridor from Dadri to Jawaharlal Nehru Port, that is in Mumbai. So these two freight corridors have been planned, and these two freight corridors have been become operational. A large chunk of it has become operational, which is going to benefit the railways because now the freight can easily move. Secondly, we didn't have any freight corridor, so पहले क्या होता था कि जो पेरिशेबल गुड्स हैं उनका मूवमेंट बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता था. मान लीजिए कि अगर अमूल को अपना मिल्क दिल्ली तक भेजना है तो बहुत मुश्किल है, बिकॉज अगर वो दूध जब तक दिल्ली तक पहुंचेगा वो हो सकता ख़राब हो जाए, और लॉजिस्टिकल चैलेंज थे, तब रेफ्रिजरेटेड वैन्स नहीं थी. बट अभी बहुत सारा डेवलपमेंट और मॉडर्नाइजेशन रेलवे की वजह से फर्स्टली इट इज़ गोइंग टू बी गिव अ लॉट ऑफ बूस्ट टू द रेवेन्यू ऑल्सो, and it is also going to give the priority, and because it is going to be dedicated, right, for freight trains over a period of time. Even those rails are going to be used for express trains, so that express trains can also be used once those freight corridors are not busy, right? So that are the major development with respect to the vision of Indian Railways. Recently there are so many new developments also going with respect to the upgrade of infrastructure technology, with respect to the passenger facilities. If you compare the today's premium trains or the today train with respect to the third AC economy also, so that people who can't afford second AC or who can't afford the normal AC can also travel through the third economy AC, right? So these kind of new development for the passenger comfort. And we have also seen that the special trains are also run during the festive seasons, right? To make the life of the people smooth, Indian Railway has taken a lot of new initiative, right? And definitely it is going to be not only the last mile connectivity for passengers. Indian Railway is going to be a part of Indian economy also. It is one of the largest employers. So many people life depend upon the Indian Railways because they are going to be working or associated with Indian Railways. So these are the vision or the major significance of Indian Railways, right? It is a part of your Indian economy when we read about the transport or the infrastructure or the transport or infrastructure role in the economic growth, right? This topic can be covered into detailed way also. This is today just the short news. So we only have covered the relevant part with respect to the new rail zone. Okay. So moving to our next topic, that is Pravasi Bharat Divas. Recently, as Jaishankar said that India is balancing on two pillars of technology and tradition. तो अक्सर हम ये देखते हैं कि भारत में ये डिबेट काफ़ी टाइम से रही है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द ब्रेन ड्रेन, दैट the beautiful innovative minds and the especially youths who are studying into the premier institutes then are moving out, so they should not move out and they should only be focusing in India. But according to S. Jaishankar sir, India's capabilities are based on twin pillars. Firstly, with respect to the tradition, and second is technology. So they are also contributing from outside. For example, they might be forming or they are playing a very important or significant role in an important diaspora. And our diaspora is very stronghold of our foreign policy, right? That's why you do have a separate topic in your IR where you are going to talk about the India's diaspora strength, right? So might be they are not in India, but they are contributing in India's economy through different factors, right? So the Bharatiya Pravasi Divas or this news can be relevant with respect to the history and society part, because it is going to be celebrated on 9th January. That is a very important day when Gandhi जी returned from South Africa to India. तो वहाँ पे जब उनके सत्याग्रह के एक्सपेरिमेंट सक्सेसफुल हुए और वो जब भारत आए, तो 9 जनवरी 1915 को भी सेलिब्रेट और कमेमोरेट एज अ भारतीय प्रवासी डे. We commemorate as a Bharatiya Pravasi Divas, right? So this is also relevant to the GS paper 1 and GS paper 2, right? So moving to the next characteristics of Indian diaspora, it is, you know, it is very diverse. We have one of the largest population. So that is why our different cultures or our root cultures have evolved over a period of time, and they are now in the entire globe, right? So you are going to have large population, or because of large population and its diversity. Even once upon a time, if you are visiting to the old USSR or now Russia, Raj Kapoor songs and Raj Kapoor movies were so famous. Similarly, with respect to the Shah Rukh Khan. So once we are going to be so diverse and we are so innovative also, for example, if you go to US or if you go to UK or you are going to meet persons who are doing great in terms of the technological field or management field, you will find lot of Indians have moved out, and with respect to their respective countries in which they are contributing a lot with respect to economy also and shaping our foreign policy, and they are playing an important role in improving our relationship, right? So with respect to economic success, cultural and political involvement, that is going to be the characteristic or strength of diaspora, right? Moving to the basic facts and figure, as I said, it is going to be estimation of 18 million people which are Indian origin and are settled or working into different parts of the world. One of the very important part, they are contributing in Indian economy also because we get a lot of remittances, right? So with respect to large diaspora, if we see US, Saudi Arab, UAE, Malaysia, Myanmar, UK, Sri Lanka, South Africa, Canada. So majority of continents may you are going to find Indian people, right? Contribution, economic growth, political influence and lobbying, that is a very important part of our foreign policy, where our diaspora is used as a connecting link between India and that particular country. It has been commemorated on the 9th January 1915 because Gandhi ji went back और यहाँ आने के बाद में he started his own experiments, and that satyagraha or ahimsa was replicated. Firstly, it was replicated in his 3 initiative. You must have read into modern history, the Ahmedabad Mill Strike, the Kheda Satyagraha, right? And then the Khilafat movement, non-cooperation movement, civil disobedience movement, and his active participation in shaping the course of our national movement, right? So that is why this Pravasi Divas is celebrated. Next, importance of diaspora, globalized influence. As I said, it is a bridge between the India and the host countries, and definitely economic impact because we are going to get remittances. Lot of people are also going to work in those firms, and it is going to bridge a gap. Imagine करिए कि जब आपके घर से कोई आपके एल्डर ब्रदर या ऐसे किसी बाहर की यूनिवर्सिटी में पढ़ने चले जाते हैं, या वो अपने गांव, अपने कस्बे, अपने शहर से निकल करके दूसरे शहर में आते हैं, then that particular city becomes familiar for you also. So similarly, this diaspora acts a very important linkage between India and that particular country, right? So that is why you see whenever our Prime Minister is visiting, the Indian diaspora is going to be invited, as well as the major people of Indian origin who are contributing in the economy of that country are going to be specially invited, right? So that is going to be the importance of India's diaspora. You read this particular topic into the IR as a separate sub theme, right? So the major thing which you only have to remember is going to be the Bharatiya Pravasi Divas, which is commemorated on 9th January 1915. It was Gandhiji came back, and since then it is going to be commemorated, right? Now moving to our last topic, that is Flamingo Festival. Andhra Pradesh is set to hold 3 days Flamingo Festival, right? It is going to celebrate the arrival of the thousands of migratory birds. So there are so many wildlife sanctuaries, so there are so many bird sanctuaries, there are so many wetlands which are very famous for the migratory bird species, and sometimes those particular bird sanctuaries also organize festivals so that people can come and watch beautiful birds. So similarly, Andhra Pradesh is going to hold a Flamingo Festival, and it is relevant to the GS paper 3 environment. So just a bit about the flamingos, that the IUCN status is least concern. That is why right now we don't have major concern, but doesn't mean that we are going to threat them. So they are going to be the major attraction, or they are going to be the major center of attraction. So they are migratory birds, and they are going to come to a bird life sanctuary, right? So the ecological importance, habitat for diverse flora and fauna, and also support migratory bird population. So one of the very interesting feature about these birds is going to be they share a symbiotic relationship with the farmers, where their waste is going to be used as a natural fertilizer. And where this festival is going to organize, that is Nela Pattu Bird Sanctuary, that is situated into the Tirupati district of Andhra Pradesh. Now my question to you, which are the other bird sanctuaries which are very famous for flamingos, right? So let's see also one question. With reference to the Nela Pattu Bird Sanctuary, consider the following statement. It is the largest breeding ground for grey pelicans in Southeast Asia. It is located in the state of Tamil Nadu. It hosts migratory species like great flamingo. So I hope 2 of this statement you know very well, and the third statement is going to be a quiz for you, right? So whenever we are reading any bird sanctuary, we are also reading any wildlife sanctuary, we are reading any national park, I already told you that you should definitely remember 3 major things. Firstly, its location or geographical features, for example, any special kind of vegetation, for example, any special species or any critically endangered species is going to be there. Next is going to be what are the other geographical features which are going to be passing on, any special mountain, any special river, or it is going to be adjacent to the border. And the last, what are going to be the natural flora and fauna of that particular wildlife sanctuary or any bird sanctuary, right? So if you know all these major basic things, you can easily do that particular question, right? So I hope today's discussion was useful and productive, and you got some glimpse of the newspaper in coverage of the important articles, as well as their coverage of the articles, as well as how these articles are going to align your preparation and how those dimensions are going to be useful for those particular topics of different GS papers. Thank you and have a great day.